This is Thriving Chiropractors, where chiropractors supporting chiropractors and talking to chiropractors that are thriving beyond the four walls of their practice. This is Dr. Austin Cohen with Thriving Chiros, which is hosted by the Life University Alumni Association. And we were so excited for season 1. It was so great. Thank you so much to all the listeners and the feedback you guys gave us. And one thing that we're going to be doing with season 2 is we are live from LVE. And here's what I'm really excited about. We have Dr. Lee, aka Fresh, not a DJ, but a DC, who is here with us. And he came all the way from China to be on this podcast today.
Yes.
Fresh. Hey, thanks so much for being here today, by the way. This is awesome. We're really honored, man, to have you here. And you're a 2012 graduate, right?
Yes.
From Life University.
From Life University.
And man, everyone we've had so far. By the way, the first thing that's really cool for us is we can now say we're a worldwide podcast. Yes, right?
Great.
So thank you for allowing us the opportunity to say that now. But what I want to get into with you is, man, how did you get into chiropractic? You're from China. You grew up in China. How did you hear about chiropractic to kind of make your journey over to Marietta, Georgia?
Well, this is always a story I wanted to share that I really want to, since we're here talking at this chiropractic podcast, I just would like to thank a person. Her name is Dr. Linda Atkinson, who already passed away. And she's a chiropractor from Michigan. And it's because of her, and then I become a chiropractor. And when I was in college back in China, and we have a chiropractor working in the hospital over there. It's her, Dr. Linda Atkinson. And then by that time, because my English is kind of good, so I become an interpreter for her at the time. Just by observing her, watching her, interacting with the patients, treating patients very well. And one specific event was that there was a patient came to her and without an X-ray, but Dr. Linda Atkinson wanted the X-ray in order to get some safety checks. She said, this patient said, I just took an X-ray in another hospital. And so Dr. Linda was like, okay, since you just took one, I don't need you to take another one. If you have time, you can wait until I finish work here. I will go with you to the other hospital to see the X-ray. So we actually went over there together. So to see the she saw the X-ray and then knew what's going on with her. And by that time, I was like, wow, what kind of doctor is that? Because from my experience before that, I don't think any doctor would do such things. So I just told her that if there's any opportunity in China to have a chiropractic program, I would like to be the first chiropractic student. And then it turned out that Life University took over the program, and eventually, and then Dr. Linda Atkinson told by that time that was Dr. John Das, Dr. Tim Gross, and I think Dr. Rickman, and they're saying we have some Chinese students over here wants to become chiropractors, and they eventually want to come back to China to serve Chinese people. So which turned out that. We become the students come to Life to study, and then going back to China to serve China.
And how long was it? How long was the timeline from when they said that to when you applied to come over to Life University?
I actually started that I think in 2005, and then I came to Life in 2007. So 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And outside of her, did you know any other chiropractors?
No, I actually didn't even know what chiropractic was before that. And then because of her, I get to know a different healthcare profession and a different way of doctors treating patients. That's the beginning of my chiropractic path.
That's so cool.
Yeah, which actually changed my life.
Yeah, it's interesting. You and I were just at the lunch just a few minutes ago,
yes,
and what was interesting was hearing one of the students share his story about coming to Life Leadership Weekend and how he was mentioning the board of trustees were there, doing the events with them and being involved. And he's like, I didn't meet the president of the school I went to for undergrad. Yet here you have the president, the vice president, the board of trustees, actually actively involved in the university. I mean, to me, it just ties to passion. I mean, I've been a chiropractor for 15 years. I graduated in 2009. I always tell the young students, even the newer docs, I love this profession more now than the day I started practice.
Totally.
Right?
I can't agree more of that. And for another person I would also want to mention is that which is Dr. Zhang Dans. Dr. Zhang Dans has been helping with it. Well, first of all, Dr. Zhang Dans is in charge of international programs, and his goal and his plan is always to start chiropractic programs all over the world. So the China program is just one of his initiatives, and he's been giving so much help and so much care for us. And then while I was at school, and even after I graduated, went back to China, because at the time there are not many chiropractors in China. We are not. Well, I don't want to say we're not doing well, but we did not have much clue of what to do. And we have a goal, we have a vision, but we don't know how to proceed. And sometimes we have frustrations with such a huge country, not many chiropractors. But Dr. Dan's always telling me that, first you need think big. Second, just go serve and give, and without asking any return.
How many people live in China right now? How many billion people?
1.4 billion.
4 billion. And how many chiropractors are there?
Including international chiropractors, probably less than 50.
50?
Less than 50.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
All right. So that's basically saying that's what, 30 million? That's all. So each chiropractor there should list about 30 million people, and then we can hit the population.
Yes.
That's crazy.
A lot. And also what I really want to mention about Dr. Zhang Dao is that he's really setting the example of the lasting purpose, just to give, to love, to serve for over 20 years. And at least that's what I saw. But beyond that, I think, and he has done a lot more. Even when he was that was back in 2018. How old was he? He was probably like 68 or something at that time. He was still like taking us to the national Chinese national teams to take care of the athletes, like some of the like judo athletes, like huge. And he's seeing like 20, 30 in the afternoon. And then he is the one that actually sat in the front. And for later on, and I took over to see.
Yeah, so tell us about that. So is he the one who introduced you? So for those that don't know, Fresh actually takes care of the Olympic athletes in China, when they're going to the Olympics. So is that how that kind of got initiated? Is through Dr. Downs, and now you continually take care of them?
Yes.
So you got to take care of them in 2021 and 2024, most recently in Paris?
Yes, and I got to take care of them like first like 2018, the Asian Games, and then, let's put it that. Chinese Olympic Committee had a contract with Life University because of Dr. Zhang Dao's. So Dr. Zhang Dao's initiated this. Like I worked under this agreement rather than me as an individual working with the Chinese Olympic Committee. The agreement is with Life University.
Yeah.
So that started in 2018.
Wow.
So with the Asian Games and with 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games and 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics, and then this the past 2024 Paris Olympics.
Who's your favorite athlete so far from China?
It were really hard to say because I took care of so many teams, and I think I've taken care of over at least like 50 Olympic gold medalists. Wow. And if including World Championships, I think that would be over 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't have one favorite one? One who was just so humble and they talked it.
Okay, that was Su Bingtian, and the sprinter.
Yeah,
the sprinter who broke the Chinese national Asian record in the Olympics, and he ran 9.83, and that was a lot for us. Yeah, and
that's cool. I mean, what an amazing experience, though, right? I mean, it's just so cool to hear the story of like in 2005, and you're talking to Dr. Linda, and then they're sharing that they want these chiropractors, but through that, like the experiences you've been able to have over your life, it just sounds fascinating, right? And now, are you practicing right now?
I am practicing, but mostly I'm more of let me put it this way. Mostly I'm promoting the chiropractic profession. So I'm initiating, I'm connecting and coordinating with universities in China, medical universities, and TCM. TCM stands for Traditional Chinese Medicine Universities, and some hospitals with academic exchange, some research, and also some clinical stuff.
So how are you doing this? I mean, you go in there, are you doing seminars, are you doing workshops, are you leveraging videos? Like, how are you doing this?
Yes, majority of them right now are through social media, and also we will attend a lot of their symposium summits because, first of all, like in China, they have traditional Chinese medicine, which is which contains a lot of conservative care, like bone manipulations, spinal manipulations. They have their history over there. And at the beginning, when we went back to China, people may consider us as a different style of manipulation. They even call us as American spinal manipulation, American style of spinal manipulation. But later on, what we found that if we want to say that, I don't want to say set the distinction, but to make them realize to make them realize the difference or see the difference is that here's our philosophy coming to play is we are removing the nerve interference. So it comes to nerve system rather than just on the technique. Now we have over 10 Chinese students on campus. I always tell them that technique is good, but technique is not all. And you got to know the why behind the how. And so knowing why, knowing the philosophy, knowing the nervous system, knowing the neurology, knowing the mechanism behind it is much more than just pursuing the techniques. And because, that's how I don't want to say scare them, is that if you're just learning techniques, going back to China, the Chinese doctors will go, what you know, I know much better. Because just by techniques, just by playing with bones, they are good at it. But with the philosophy, with the nerve system, with the neurology, that set us different.
And by the way, that philosophy, even though I know, probably in China as well, like you have these, different doctors that they are probably just great at spinal manipulation, which is not adjustment. But even in the US though, I mean, your philosophy can carry you so far. If you're not grounded in philosophy, even here, by the way, in the US,
sure,
you're only going to go so far. You're only as good as the physical therapist down the street who spinal manipulates. I mean, we call it patient visit average, right? Which is like the retention as far as the patient. I mean, if you're grounded in philosophy and patients truly believe that and you have the confidence behind that, it's unbelievable to me, like how long patients will actually stay for, because it's real, it's raw. It's like, I mean, the things that you saw in like 05, 06, 07 that got you to be a chiropractor. And, so tell us, I mean, most people are watching this, right? So I know you're big on social media right now, which is, you're probably going to be humble to share that. So was there a video that you did that just went viral?
Yes.
That started this whole, because is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? Like, what is your?
Right now, like majority of my social media are in Chinese social media platforms, and I haven't really got on Instagram or the international TikTok yet. But for the Chinese social media platforms, there are like 3 platforms together. I have like 2.7, 2.8 million followers. Actually, what I found is that there are a few videos that got over 10 million views.
Only from China viewers too, by the way, right?
Yes.
It's not a worldwide thing.
No, those are only for the Chinese viewers. And some of them are actually just some simple spinal exercises. And because nowadays, like people are just sitting in front of the desk and then in front of the computer and then head down with the phones. And even for kids, and they just put their head down with the phones. And so the spinal problems are just getting younger and younger. And for among my followers, there are some PMs from the followers. They're just middle school students. They're already starting to have low back disc problems. So yeah, and that's crazy. And some of them, like with straight neck and with the forward head position, already got them starting to have dizziness. And so I think to call it spinal health awareness is huge. That's why I think why don't consider me as a success on social media. It's just there are so many people need this information, and I'm even calling for more chiropractors here to post your information online, which daily probably a lot of people don't have a clue at all.
And what are some platforms you're like now that you kind of think long term and like big picture? Like, what are some places you think that are a good avenue for you to go down next to start posting on? YouTube maybe, or
for me right now, like after we get more mature with the Chinese platforms, so we're gonna get into Instagram, international TikTok, and also YouTube.
Which is crazy to think, right? There's about 8 billion people in the world. You're only tapping into 1 billion. You're able to access 1 billion. That's
right.
And it's probably not even truly 1 billion just based on, certain people don't have access to the internet, of course. Yeah. That is wild though, man. Like 2 point, and I'd love to keep this up because I love stories that exactly like what you're sharing right here. I mean, people need to hear what we've got to say, man. And it doesn't matter how many times we say it. Eventually, it's going to click in their brain, the concept. But I mean, gosh, I love that you're doing that, man. Sharing the profession.
Well, the thing is, like right now, Chinese government is calling it a national policy to screening kids scoliosis. It's mandatory.
By who, though?
By orthopedic doctors.
Who are they pro chiropractic? Depends.
It depends. It really depends because some of them don't know chiropractic yet. Okay. But there are doctors they know chiropractic, especially this is the benefit of through social media, and some of them will know me through social media, and so they will come to me to ask me join their programs, join their screening, especially for them. Like they know after screening there's gonna be very small percentage of students or kids gonna have surgeries. So the majority of them still gonna have conservative care, and they don't know what are the good standards conservative care for the spine. And then since I'm promoting chiropractic as a conservative care for the spinal health, and tacked on the spinal health, but more on the nervous system, on the brain, because I always talk to them that the spine is not just for posture. It's not just a bone structure, and it's actually a highway for all the sensory informations coming to the brain. So if the spine is not aligned, it's not just you're gonna have pain or you're not having a good posture. It will actually affect your brain function, and then this is going down up. But from up down, if the highway of the nervous system does not work well, like that will affect your sports performance. That will affect your body movement. So from the hands and then the feet, if you're gonna go play in the sports, that will affect it. And because I had the background of working with the Olympic athletes, so that has a lot of convincing power in there. And so there are different hospitals are looking for me to join with them. But for me, I'm like, I'll be glad to join with this part of this process and then to get the chiropractic idea out. But we don't have enough chiropractors. We don't have.
Interesting you say that. As you're talking, I look at you as like a brand ambassador. It's like you're like the face of chiropractic for China, right? That's like how I like envision you is, chiropractors go into school, they're coming out, and then they talk to Fresh, and Fresh is the one who figures out best maybe direction or best route for them to go, whether it's in a hospital, whether it's working with professional athletes, whether it's private practice or orthopedic. Exactly. But you have the relationships and you also have the great communication where you can help navigate that and really help chiropractic get to these people.
That's correct. And that is really what I wanted to do is through social media, we're gonna first call the awareness of the general public's awareness of spinal health, and also call the awareness of the orthopedic doctors that there are some methods. If you get first of all, in China, the orthopedic doctors do not worry about patients. Usually they are overwhelmed with patients. So they won't give patients out. And they know that at least 90% of their patient visits are going to be conservative cares. So they want to refer them out. So I actually have very good connections with the orthopedic doctors, with spinal surgeons. And I just had a interview with a spinal surgeon with a very top hospital. He actually had very aligned idea with me. He even had, he worked in, I think that was Massachusetts General for 3 years. And he worked with chiropractors over there. So he was telling me, and he was telling the audience, telling the followers, is that me as a spinal surgeon, I'm the last defense. I don't want you to come to me. I want you to come to Fresh. I want you to come to Dr. Lee, because he is the first defense. If he cannot solve your problem, then considerably come to me. And he and I even made a conclusion that we had the things we are in common is that we both considered that we were working on the spine, but actually we're both working on keeping things away from the nerves, disrupting the nerve system. For us, it's more of the functional stuff, and then for them it's like for them it's the same. Only if it's affecting the nerve system, they're gonna do the surgery, and it's just like in a more rigorous way. So he considered he's aligned with me.
Yeah.
So
an opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have very, very good connections with the orthopedic doctors, with the surgeons, with the just like you said, we're calling for more doctors. We're calling for more students coming to study chiropractic. If they want to come to China to work, they can go to public hospitals, working with orthopedic doctors, working with PTs. We work with orthopedic doctors, with PTs, with the TCM doctors closely, and we even work with especially in national team, we also work with strength conditioning coaches, PTs, and very closely. So people after they graduate, they can work in public hospitals, private hospitals, sports teams, private practices. Or you can also do social media.
And if people want to people over here right now, if somebody wants to find you or connect with you, where would they go?
Actually, I would say WhatsApp would be the best.
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And are you okay if we put any of that information?
Sure. That would be great. And
okay.
I don't mind. I'm looking forward to having connections with more doctors here, because we need help. We need more support from you guys, because over there, just like mentioned, we only have less than 50 doctors. Sometimes we need help, but we don't know what to look for. And gladly, Dr. John Downs and the ICA has been helping us for tremendously, but we need more.
Yeah, and then I've got to ask you this question as we wrap up. How'd you get the name Fresh?
Actually, back when I was in college, when I went to the nightclub, there was No, that was not.
Oh, man.
That was not the story.
That would have been a great one.
No, I know.
When you said college, I kind of figured you were throwing it off, because I think y'all call it university, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, he's messing with me now.
Well, that was actually back when I was in still college or university. I was a part-time in an English teaching school, because my English is fine. So in that English teaching school, more of teaching like elementary school students, they have a rule is that no Chinese in the classroom. So I need to get, when I was filling up my application, I just need to make up a English name in 5 minutes or 2 minutes. I'm like, well, I like fresh things. I like fresh air. I like to do things not in the traditional way. I'm like, fresh.
All right, I love it.
Yeah,
because here in the U.S., by the way, when we hear that, there's Will Smith was a character in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes.
So I think of like that maybe be our opening song. Like, no, now this is a story. Oh no.
Yeah, that was also like when I got here. When I first got here, some people will ask like, "Oh, this song is so fresh, so clean."
Yeah.
But what I realized that I'm actually very grateful that I had the name Fresh, because sometimes when I tell you like my name is Li Peng or Peng Li, it will be difficult to remember. But if I tell you my name is Fresh,
I will never forget that name, by the way.
exactly. Even when I graduate, even when I was at graduation ceremony, Dr. Rickman at the time, and when people were announced that Peng is going and then Dr. Rickman's like, look at Peng, I don't. But when he saw me, he's like, that's Fresh.
I love that. Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, this is season 2, Thriving Chiros. We have Fresh here all the way from China, sharing just such a great story and a great journey. And I can see him becoming such a huge ambassador for chiropractic.
Thank you so much.
Time goes on, man. So thank you so much for doing this. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.